Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tally Cigarelli here again with another video for you all. I know it's kind of been a little while, maybe like a week or so, but I'm here. Okay, and first and foremost, today's video is sponsored by, the makeup is sponsored by Z Marie Beats. Z Marie, I'm gonna definitely leave her information in the section below so you guys can check out her Instagram. She's a really good makeup artist, and she beat my face to perfection. Do you see this? Do you see this? So definitely go check her out and book her, and she's definitely committed to your satisfaction because look at this. Look at this, amazing. Thank you. Anyways, so today's video, as you probably already seen it, because I do know the topic of the video before I make the video. It's just something that just gets deposited and I just know what I'm gonna say. All right, why I quit smoking weed. I'm waiting for the applause. I might put those sound effects in, not really sure yet, probably not. But yes, why I quit smoking weed. Now, first and foremost, I don't want to make this video too long because, potheads, weed heads, they don't have that long of an attention span either. Maybe if you really you stone high, you have the time to sit down and watch a video, but I don't know, maybe not, but I definitely want, enough people to see this. Because, and I just thought of another reason. So what it is that my disclaimer is I don't want anybody to watch this video feeling guilt or shame, even though some conviction might come over you, because I'm pretty sure the feelings that I felt towards weed, there's many people who felt the same feelings. But I still want to say that this video is not to judge anybody, to shame anyone, because judgment, shame, guilt, things like that, it's a feeling, it's a bad feeling that lasts for a moment, but I never seen it change anybody's life. In order for your life to change, you got to actually be motivated to want the change. And shame and guilt is not great, is not the best motivators. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I don't think shame, changes people. I don't think guilt changes people. I don't think judgment changes people. If anything, it brings them further into that dark place. But when you actually want to get out, it's a feeling of confidence, a feeling of motivation, a feeling of, you can really do this, that takes you out of that place. So that's my disclaimer. And I hope this does help somebody, because that's my goal. My goal is to help somebody. Okay. So first and foremost, why I quit weed. Well, let me tell you my background with weed. My background with weed, I probably started smoking continuously or continually, or regularly, I say, all day, every day kind of thing. Probably I want to say 17, but I've definitely smoked before then. I smoked once in a blue moon, very spotty over the time between 13 and 17. But when it became a continuous, regular habit, all day, every day, definitely was about that 17, 18-year-old range, because that's when I started working, making my own money, being able to purchase whatever I wanted to. But I gotta say, I say 17, but I'm thinking a little bit younger, but regularly, definitely 17, 18. Okay, and then I smoked like that for about the next, I want to say 5 years. So about 17 to 22. So a good 5 years smoking regularly. And then, but from the first time I hit a blunt, I was 13. And then, just little events over time. It wasn't regularly then, but, little different times, of course, I was smoking, when I could. But here's the thing. Weed, that's the thing for most people. Weed starts out as this fun thing to do with your friends when you're younger, when you're in your teenage years. And then there's some people, you know, they're able to kick the habit and go into their future, however, but there's some of us who stayed with the habit. There's some of us who stuck with it, and we were never able to kick the habit and move on from that party fun phase, right? So that's the thing about weed. You know, it starts off as just like this regular, just fun thing to do, and before you know it, it's something that has this like stronghold on your life. You know, and that's a big thing to me. That's a big thing I see, and I say this every time I mention about, you know, my weed habit. I never knew someone who smoked weed who doesn't want to quit. Like, maybe you may not want to quit now, but there has been a point that you wanted to quit, or there is going to be a point that you want to quit, or you're going to try to quit, and then you're going to see just how strong, you know, the power of it, the power of getting high, the addiction, you have to say, of getting high is going to have all over you. And I'm not going to go into addiction yet, because I know people say you can't be addicted to weed. I've seen a whole doctor go on TV and say that and mislead the public and say that. So, but we're going to get into that. But, you know, that's a big concern to me, you know, how, you know, it starts off so fun, and then one day you're trying to kick the habit and you just can't, you know. So number one, okay, let's start out with the light stuff. So I used to be a server working for tips, you know, and at the time they were pretty good tips, you know. I was living with my mother, so I didn't need that much money. And let's say I made $100 for the night. I made $100 for the night, you know. I had 5 20s in my hand. And when I was a smoker, I had 5 20s in my hand. I'm definitely going to take $20. I'm definitely going to take $20 to $40, and I'm going to call my weed man, whoever picks up at the time, because you know you have a few different weed men, because all of them be flaky, you know, and then you have to call them and you go pick up your weed. So that was a big thing for me. Like, every time I made some money, weed took away a good portion of my money. Okay, so if I made $100, that means 20% of my money went to weed. If I spent 40, that means 40% of the money I made for the night went to weed. So, and I know some of you out there even spend way more money on weed. I was a little bit, I could not say I was a responsible smoker, because, you know, because $20, that I used to pick up like $20 a day, or maybe $40, you know. On special occasions, I'll go up to 60, special occasions, I'll go up to 100. But, you know, I know that's a relatively small amount, because some people may look at this video and be like, wow, you picked up a lot of weed. But I know for a fact there's other people who's gonna watch this video and be like, yo, you did not smoke a lot of weed at all. And that's true. Like, even though I used to smoke all day, every day, I never built up a high tolerance. So I could roll one fat blunt. And by the way, I could roll it with nails too. You feel me? I was a G. I was a G in this game. Don't ever play with me like I wasn't. Okay? If you know, you know. Anyways, so I could roll one fat blunt, and I could smoke like a quarter of it in the morning, and then I go to work high, smoke a quarter of it on break, and then after break, going home, I smoke a quarter of it, and then when I get home, I finish it and maybe roll one more at home and smoke a little bit of that at home. So 1 or 2 blunts could literally last me the whole day. I wasn't the kind of smoker who I could, but I didn't want to, who had to smoke like 5 blunts at one time, because I got high off the littlest amount. So yeah, that's the case for me. So if you're smoking way more than me, that means you're spending way more money than me. So I didn't have to spend that much money, but the money I was spending was still a big portion of my money. If I made $100 for a night, because I was a server, so what is a night? I'm working maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night. I made $100 for the night. I'm gonna spend about $40 on weed. That's 40% of my money. That's a lot of money. That over the years, that adds up. Any person who smokes is gonna relate to that. How much money are you spending on weed? You know what I'm saying? Like, that adds up, especially if you're not putting any money in your savings account, especially if you have other responsibilities that you could be handling with that money, especially like we're grown now, so we got children, you know, men and women. We got so many other responsibilities and things that we have to do to like kind of get our future secured. So that money is even more valuable to us now. You know, when you're 17, you're not thinking about the future, or you're 18, you're not thinking about the future, even though that money could have went towards a savings account and could have put you in a better position today, you know, because now we want to start businesses. What if you saved up that money and that money was used to invest in some kind of business? What if you saved up that money and that money could have been used to become a down payment on a house or a condo for you? I know we think of it and be like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, because they do be trying to get people with that. But there is some truth in it. Like that money could have done so much more better things for us to get us ahead in life. We could have saved it to do something greater with it. So even though like not smokers don't usually really care about that, but like, so what, I'm still getting high. Some of us, we make enough money, so we're like, so I have other money, I do other things, I already have a house. Yeah, but at the end of the day, there's still something else, there's still something better you could have done with that money, you know. And nowadays we're a little bit older now, or at least I am, so if I was still smoking, that would take a toll on my finances, you know? Of course, we want to make more money so we could support our habit, but it's still gonna take out, especially a all day, everyday smoker, it's still gonna take out a good percentage, a good portion of your money that you could be investing in other areas of your life. So there's always a sacrifice that has to be made. So if you're investing your money in weed, in getting high, you're sacrificing that money that could be better suited or better invested into some other area of your life. That is a sacrifice. But I understand some of you are willing to make that sacrifice, but I just want to tell you that there is a sacrifice being made. Okay, moving on. All right, number two, there's one I just thought of that I don't want to forget. Okay, I'll probably make that number. Actually, let's just make that number 2 so I don't forget it, because I didn't write it down. I just wrote down like 7 points here. So the number 2, the thing that really was a red flag to me about smoking weed was like, first of all, I'm a Christian. Okay, you guys knew that I'm a Christian. Okay, and the thing about being a Christian is you understand that the things that this world always wants to promote as good and as a good thing, you understand that it's never a good thing. It's almost, we don't want to say never, we don't want to speak in absolutes, but we understand that it's almost never a good thing. You understand? So a lot of things this world tries to push off to us, like, oh, this is good, try this. Oh, threesomes and foursomes and doing and smoking weed all the time and drinking whole bottles of wine and going out and partying all the time, spending money here, spending money this, eating everything, eating whatever you want to, going this, you know, wearing the designer all the time, showing out for Instagram, putting on for social media. And so much more things. Everything this world, many things that this world tries to push on us are things that are temporary pleasures, but it ends up in a lot of brokenness. It ends up in a lot of heartbreak. Have sex whenever you want to, be free. You know what I'm saying? These things, and they feel good at first. They may feel good at first, or some of them don't. And they end up in a lot of brokenness, and it could be the littlest things. You see, I'm someone who's still dealing with like a food dependency issue. You know, I know people never talk about that. I should make a video about that, but I'm dealing with this issue, and it's till then I became aware of the issue I'm dealing with is when I realized, like, yo, I'm going on social media, and all social media is showing me is like these videos of people cooking. And if that's not your issue, those are great videos to watch. I could even watch some of them now because I don't deal with those things on the level I used to deal with them. Let me breathe. I don't deal with some of those things on that great level, but when I was dealing with it heavy, you know, like watching all these kind of foods, these foods that are not good for you, all these fried foods, all these unhealthy foods, you know, deep fried foods, all these carbs, you know, all these foods, like in my face every day. It's like it did not help my issue. And something as little as food, and we need food to survive. Even in that area, there must be a level of discipline and control. And I noticed that even in that area, you're like, there could be a struggle. If you're struggling with some kind of food dependency issue, like you're depending on food to, mask some kind of emotional feelings that you're feeling on the inside. If you're on Instagram and you're watching those food, the people making food, it's not going to be good for you. So even in that area, that could pose a problem. So if this world is like pushing, smoke weed all day, every day, so what, we get drunk, so what, we get high, this is what the world is pushing on us, and not only us, the younger generation. So as a Christian, the second reason why I stopped smoking weed is because I just understood. I had what is called the cognitive ability. So cognitive ability, I don't know the exact scientific definition, but the way I can explain it to you is you're able to look at life, or your life, like you're like outside looking in. So let's say it's me, my body here, and I'm able to look at my life from a perspective of like someone else who's just looking down on me and looking at the things I do and making judgments from that place. But me, I'm making judgments about my life, so I'm able to take, I'm able to, not that I actually come out my body, but it's like I'm outside of my body looking at things from that perspective. And I believe that's a skill a lot of us have to have if we want to see development and growth in our lives. So from that perspective, I seen that this world is pushing so hard for people to get high all the time, and there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with weed, and weed should be approved for recreational use. If everything else that this world is pushing on me, almost everything else that this world is pushing on me is wrong, I can't trust that them pushing weed on me is right. I can't trust that, especially it's a substance that I don't actually need. I wasn't born with. It's not something that I need to survive. It's not air, water, or food or exercise. It's not none of that. This is something that and I don't want to go into any of my other points too soon, but this is something that could potentially cause some kind of damage to me that we don't even really know. So if this world wants to push that on me, you have to question everything that this world tries to push on you, because most things this world tries to push on us is not right according to my standard, according to the godly standard. So that's another reason why I knew I had to smoke. And that was one of my big reasons, because I just knew that it wasn't right, the things that they tried to push on us. So I said, spending the amount of money I spent, and some people have been spending way more than me. So think about the sacrifice you're making, or where else you could have been investing that money. Number one. Number two is, if you see the trends of the world, the things that they like to push on us, you understand that a lot of these things are harmful to us. So you can't trust that weed is any different. That's two. Number three, now this is something that me and my brother, because my brother still smokes weed as well, so sorry if I put you out there, but he smokes weed. And what it is that we used to live together, we used to have an apartment together, a 2-bedroom, and one of the reasons that it wouldn't work out between us is because, number one, I was completely done with weed. I quit weed. I've been quit weed when we started living together, just the two of us. However, I wasn't that strong. I was real strong, but I wasn't completely strong. I didn't smoke the weed, but weed would still be just like a little bit of a temptation to me. So if you're healing and you're growing out of something, and you're getting over something, you're recovering from something, you don't need that activity all up in your face. But that's not my point. That was not my point. The thing was he liked to smoke in the house. He was excited that it was just going to be only me and him, because we used to live with my mom previously, but he was excited it was going to be his basically apartment. And in his apartment, he felt like he wanted to be able to smoke in the house. Me, absolutely not, because there's no way, because people who smoke weed, let's be honest here, people who smoke weed, they smell like weed all the time. They smell, most people, not everybody, but most people, they're okay with smelling like weed all the time. And me, that was the same way. I used to smell like weed all the time. My car used to smell like weed, even though like when new people who don't really know me, when they used to like smell my car and get in my car, I used to always get slight embarrassed. It was always some type of embarrassment for me for people to just know my business, that I smoked like I did just by smelling the inside of my car. So I didn't like the fact that I smelled like weed all the time. I didn't like the fact that people just knew my business by smelling my car. And then, you know, living with my brother, he wanted to smoke in the house, and I was absolutely against it. Not only because at the time I didn't smoke weed, but because I didn't want to smell like weed. I didn't want to, my clothes, because if you're smoking anything, cigarettes, weed in the house over and over again, that smell starts to set in on the fabric of your clothes. And I didn't want to go places and people immediately had to know my business. People immediately knew that I smoke, but that's when I did smoke. And now that I didn't smoke, I definitely didn't want people to assume that I was a smoker when I didn't even smoke. So going to work, because at the time I was working, I think I was working like 2 jobs. So going to work, going all these places I was doing and smelling like weed, it was unacceptable to me, you know, especially if I don't smoke, that's unacceptable to me. But you know, I see smokers all the time down in public, and they smell like it. Everybody in their business, they know that, oh, that's the weed smoker, that's the person who smoked weed. Again, that could be comfortable for a lot of you, but that's not comfortable for me. That's not comfortable for people to know my business as soon as I meet you. You know, and that goes into number 4, respect. You know, because even though, again, these are things that some of you may not care about, but these are things that are true. They are prevalent in society. Maybe you might choose to not care and choose you smoking weed over that. Like, you may see, like, you know what, this is my dependency, this is my addiction, I don't care what other people think. If you're in that place, then there's nothing I can tell you here to try to get you out of that. But all I can say is the people who do smoke, or the people who used to smoke, this is what is prevalent. This is what happens. This is what takes place. This is how you are treated in society if you are a smoker. So like I said, I didn't want to go everywhere smoking smelling like smoke, people knowing my business, people smelling my car, knowing my business. And then when I stopped smoking, I didn't want my brother to be smoking in the house, because I didn't want me to smell like smoke when I didn't smoke. So it went into number 4 when I said respect. Like, I truly feel like there's a level of respect that people begin to lack for you when they find out that you are a smoker. And I've dealt with it. I've felt it as a smoker. Like, people feel like, oh, you know what I'm saying? First of all, when you smoke, people are like, oh, you smelling good. You smelling good. Oh, I see you on that good stuff. Like, people feel like they could be immediately friendly with you. You know what I'm saying? They like immediately you're like someone they could joke with, you know? Cause you know, they just like, if that's you, they feel like if you're a smoker, you have no problem smelling like it anywhere you go. It's just like a level of, like, they're not gonna take you serious. You're not gonna be taken serious. And the person I am, like, even though back then, like, I didn't completely know who I was, and I didn't think about like really be taken seriously, like, the woman, again, I'm going into another point, the woman that I've always had in the back of me, the woman I've always had inside of me, there's a part of her that definitely wants to be taken serious. Like, I like to joke, I like to play, I like to laugh. I don't think that part I'll ever lose that part of me, but there's a part of me that still wants to be taken serious. And I just felt like when I smoke, like, I kind of felt a little bit low. So you can see the place it didn't agree with. I felt a little low because not everybody who smokes was like me. Because I could smoke, and I'm called a functional smoker. So I could smoke and I can handle all the areas of my life. You know, I didn't say I was like the best. I'm not excelling greatly, you know what I'm saying? But I can hold down every single area of my life and do, mediocre or just well enough to get by as a smoker. Like, it's called a functional smoker, because the reason I say mediocre, because if you asked me back then, I would say that I'm holding things down great. But someone right now who I'm very clear and clear-headed and realizing my full potential, I know that I'm even better sober. You know, and that's what a lot of smokers don't think. You don't think you could be better sober, but I'm testifying you today, I'm better sober. I'm better clear-headed. I'm better now that I filled in that void that I had in me that made me smoke. Now that I don't need weed to fill a void for me, and I have God in my life. You know, I have a real relationship with God in my life. I don't need weed to fill any voids for me. I'm clear, and the clarity that God has given me and the clarity that I have acquired through discipline, you know, just like eating properly, going to the gym, watching informative videos, you know, just things like that, working on my self-care, my self-love, and my brain to further myself. The discipline and the clarity that I've gotten from that is way better than any kind of clarity that you think you could get while smoking weed actively. So that's what I can attest to. But yes, what did I say? I said, yeah, I said a lot, but the respect, just the respect, you know, I felt like, you know, okay, that's what I was saying. I was saying that even though I was a functional smoker and I could hold down all the areas in my life where I still smoke, like I could go to school, I could go to work, you know, I could just handle my business, pay bills on time, all of that. Even though I could still do that, there's other people who smoke weed and they do nothing with their life. They don't take their self-care, they don't take their self-care into much consideration. Like, they don't prioritize it, so they end up looking like they don't really take care of themselves, whether that be hygiene wise, you know. So just what that is associated with can play a part in like your respect. Like, people, like, come on, if you go into a place of business, if you go into a formal event, if you want to do a career that's in the corporate world, a formal event, how do you think you're going to be received by people who, let's say if you're an investment banker or you're someone who's over a hedge fund, you think people are going to give you their millions of dollars when they know that you're an active weed smoker? And I know those people could smoke weed too, but they're not going to dress up in formal wear and hotbox in their car and arrive at the event like we used to do, right? If they smoke weed, they're going to keep it under wraps. They're going to do it in their free time, in their alone time, when they're in the privacy of their own home, and nobody's going to know about it. But a lot of weed smokers, we don't do that. We smelling, our car smelling crazy, all our clothes we wear smelling crazy because we're hotboxing and everything. We pull up to events smelling like it. So that's the thing. So the people who are in the corporate arenas and the formal gatherings and stuff like that, they may still smoke, but they know better to keep it under wraps or to keep it in the privacy of their own home, because they understand the reaction they're going to get from people is going to be a lack of respect. So I don't know how, I want to go deeper in that, but I don't have time for that. But you understand what I'm saying, you know? I just really wanted to be respected and taken more seriously. And I feel like there's a lack of respect that people show when you're a smoker that just flaunts it all over the place. Number 5, or this is probably number 6, didn't want to be addicted. Like, that's one of the most important things. Next to how this world pushes it on us, the most important thing to me is I didn't want to be addicted. Because the fact that this thing, I had to spend 40 to whatever percentage of my money on this thing, like overall, like spending 50% plus of my money on marijuana, that meant that it had some type of control over me. The fact that I had to smoke it every day, all day, it had some type of control over me. The fact that I didn't care really, I cared a little bit, but I didn't care enough to stop. I didn't care enough to do something about it. The fact that I smelled like weed, my car smelled like weed, and anybody who came past me knew that I was a smoker. The fact that, you know, I didn't care enough to stop that, even though I cared a little bit. What it shows is that marijuana had a hold on me. And I believe that's what a lot of smokers don't want to come to terms with, that marijuana has a hold on you. And it has a great hold on you, and a greater hold on you than you want to admit. And I hated that because I felt like in my person, and I'm telling you, it coincides with who I am right now. Because the person I am, clarity, more disciplined than I've ever been in my life, working toward my future goals, focus on that person doesn't mix with somebody who's focused on their future. And I know people are going to say there's people who are focused and they still smoke. I'm telling you, when you don't have an addiction over your head, over your shoulder, it makes a difference. I know that some people could chase goals and dreams and still smoke. I understand that. We see it every day. Rappers, singers, I'm saying, not even just marijuana, other drugs. But think of the freedom that you have. For me, it was about freedom. For me, it's about not having things have their foot on my neck to take advantage of me. That's completely what it's about. I didn't want anything to have its foot on my neck. I did not want to be a slave to anything. If anything, I should have my foot on its neck. And the type of person I am today, the type of person I'm still working towards, aspire to be, but I am that person today. That's the person I am. I'm the person that I don't want anything to have control over me. Even when it came to food, my eating habits, I was so sick and tired of food having control over me, because food could be an addiction too. So if food could be an addiction, of course, anything could be an addiction, but we're not getting into that yet. Or are we? Or are we? Yes, we are getting into it. I'm sorry. So yeah, we're talking about addiction. So that's what I hate, that the information that people put out there, and they're like, oh, weed is not an addiction, because they probably admit it today. But when I was coming up smoking weed, 16, 17 years old, I told you, a whole doctor went on TV and was interviewed. It was a doctor on VH1. He used to be on a lot of those reality shows too, but he's a real doctor. And he said, oh, no one could be addicted to weed. They just like it so much. What do you think it is when someone likes something so much? If someone likes something so much, that thing is filling some kind of void in us. So in life, we are looking to fill a void. But what are you filling that void with? It matters what you're filling that void with. It matters what you do, the habits that you practice in your life, because there's some habits you practice, it's filling a void, but it's healing that void. It's making you better. It's making you an overcomer. And there's habits we practice that's holding us back. So this doctor went on TV and said it's not addictive. He lied, or he fed millions of people misinformation. If I just told you that food could be an addiction, why is marijuana not an addiction? Food is something that you need to survive. You need nutrients and vitamins from food, even though food don't have a lot of nutrients and vitamins like we thought nowadays. But food, we need that nutrients in our body. But still, if food is misused, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. You see those people who are morbidly obese. You know what I'm saying? It's not because they don't need food, it's because they turn food into a weapon. They had a void in them that they want to fill with food. Much like marijuana, you have a void in you that you want to fill with marijuana. Some people fill it with alcohol. Some people fill it with sex. Some people fill it with work. There's so many things that this world offers us. Some people fill it with video games. Some people fill it with TV. There's so many things that this world offers us to fill our voids with, so many unhealthy things. But it's up to us to understand that and begin to take control of our lives and understand that I don't want to fill my void with just anything. I don't want to fill my void with sex no more. I don't want to fill my void with going out to the club, getting drunk. I don't want to fill my void with social media. There's just so many options. There's so many wrong options to fill that void with, and weed happens to just be one of them. So don't tell people that weed is not an addiction, because anything could be an addiction. Anything could be an addiction if you overuse and misuse it. So that was the thing for me. I knew that I was stronger than to have something be lorded over my life, or to have something control me. I hated that. I at one point when I was really serious about quitting, but I knew I wasn't just yet ready to quit. I came out of work. I believe I had about around $100, and I said, God, I don't want to spend this money on weed. I was sitting in my car looking at the money. I said, God, I don't want to spend this money on weed. Help me not to spend this. Help me to quit smoking weed. And then I pulled out of that parking space and I went to go smoke weed. But that's a thing that I want to talk about too for you guys. Just know, for you guys who want to quit, or who don't want, it's either if you want to quit but you're still smoking, or you don't want to quit yet but you know that you should quit. Those of you, here's the prayers that I prayed when I didn't want to quit but I knew I should quit. I used to be like, God, help me to want to quit. Even while I was still actively using, I used to be like, God, help me to want to quit. And I'm telling you, that is a powerful prayer. That is a powerful prayer, because anything that I wanted to see happen in my life, but I felt like I had no willpower or self-control or motivation or discipline to make it actually happen, I cry out to God, or I pray to God and say, God, help me to want to do this. Help me to find the right tools to be able to do this. Because sometimes we don't feel like we're able. Sometimes to be truthful, we're not able. Sometimes we feel like we don't have it in us. So I asked God, place it in me. Help me to want to quit. Help me to want to take my life to the next level. Help me to want more discipline in my life. Help me to want it. Okay, and when you get to a place of wanting it, help me to actually do it, God. Help me to take my life to the next level. Help me to quit. And these are the prayers I used to pray when it came to weed. And look at me today, weed free. I'm not saying that when I quit weed November 2017. Okay, and there's been very short instances from that time, maybe three, 4 instances where I picked it back up for maybe like a week. But I can honestly say that weed has no control over my life. Weed has no control over my life whatsoever. I do not smoke. The last time I probably smoked weed was sometime last year. And that's the thing. There's a time that I went through a really dark time. I was in a dark place, and I started smoking weed. But I smoked weed for like 2-3 days, and then I kicked the habit, because there's just something down on the inside of me that knows that the woman, and that goes into the next one, the woman, this is the 7th one, the woman that I want to be, the vision for my life for the future, weed doesn't fit in there. So it really depends. What kind of vision for your life do you have? My vision for my life, I see a businesswoman. I see a businesswoman with multiple businesses. I see a successful woman. I see me helping people, and I see a fit woman, physically fit, and I see a very disciplined a disciplined woman. That's who I see, because to maintain all of that, I also see a family woman. I see me having kids with a husband, doing all of that. So a woman who has to balance business, family, marriage, helping people, pouring out, ministering to other people, that woman has to be disciplined. It's either be disciplined or not do it at all. Because those 5 things or 4 things that I just mentioned, marriage, business, family, like with the children, ministering to other people, and women, helping other people, and everything else I want to do, self-care, all those, being physically fit, disciplined, those things are not easy. So someone who is given and has an active addiction, it's only a matter of time before you won't be able to keep up with those kind of responsibilities. And because this is the woman I see myself being, because this is the woman that I want to be, I had to sacrifice weed. Okay, I didn't know that I would want to do all of that back then when I quit. But I just had a feeling. I've always had a feeling inside myself that there's something that I'm meant to do. All right. And I'm closer to that now. But I'm just saying, like, I knew for a fact the vision that I had for the woman that I wanted to be did not include someone smoking weed all day, every day, actively addicted. Because if you have to smoke something all day, every day, you are addicted. If you have to eat something all day, every day, you have addicted. If you have something that you have to do that's unhealthy all day, every day, you have to recognize it as a dependency. You have to recognize it as an addiction. So I'm sorry for making this video long, but hey, but what it is that I just knew the woman that I wanted to be, the woman that I knew that was inside of myself did not fit. We did not fit. So you have to ask yourself, whoever you see yourself being in the future, and that vision could be skewed based on where you at in life right now. Where you at in life right now, you may be in a place that you think you're going to be something, but you're not. You think that weed may fit into that place, but it won't. Because of where you at, you think that we might fit, but I'm here to tell you that it may not. It may not. Okay, maybe if you want to be, I don't know. All I'm saying is you're not born with weed. You're not born, like, you don't need weed to survive. So anything that you don't need to survive, you don't need it for your future. Anything that you don't need to survive, this is not something that you should be dependent on. So, and you don't want anything to hold you back, because if you don't need it to survive, it's going to hold you back in some way or another. In some way or another, it's holding you back. Okay, as little as financially, as big as your mindset, your outlook on life, who you call to be, period. So yeah, so does weed fit for your future? It didn't fit for mine. It didn't fit for the woman that I'm looking at in this camera today. It just doesn't fit. This woman wants to be just next level in everything, everything, and doesn't want to be a slave to nothing. Doesn't want to be addicted to nothing. Seven, and this is the thing. If someone would get on TV, or this is 8, if someone would get on TV and lie to us and say that weed is not an addiction, because that's what someone did, a doctor did, then how can I trust them to truly reveal the long-term effects? The truth of the matter is, even though they say there's no real serious long-term effects with smoking weed, there's no way you can smoke something day in and day out, and it's a drug, and it alters your brain in some kind of way, because you are getting high. Your brain is going into some other different kind of dimension. All right. So if you're smoking something that alters your brain like that, day in and day out, all day, every day, are you telling me that it's not going to have an effect on your body? Whatever you put in your body, whatever you do to your body is going to have an effect on your body. That's the type of food you eat. That's what you drink. Anything that you put into this body. Okay, how you exercise or how you don't, what you watch, what you listen to, everything that you put into this body has an effect on this body. So please stop telling me or stop telling people that weed does not have any serious long-term effects. We just don't know the long-term effects. Science has not been able to figure out the long-term effects. But like I said, you're doing something. Your body's dependent. You've made yourself dependent, or you've got to the point where you're dependent on this because it's filling up some type of void inside your life temporarily, because you got to keep smoking it to get high, temporarily filling this void, and it's having an effect on you. We just don't know the long-term effects. We just don't know them. And if you're the type of person who says, okay, the long-term effects are not serious, and you're just sticking with that, all right, smoking is gonna affect your lungs. If you're smoking, and most smokers, most real weed heads, pot heads, whatever, they like to smoke it. Okay, like I've smoked it. I've from the vapes or the oil, did the oil pens, edibles. I've done it all. Okay, I've done it all. The bongs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, us like old school, I don't think it's old school, but us like, you know, original G smokers, we like to just smoke it. Okay, that's what we like to do. We try everything, but and it may get us super high, but original G's, we like to just smoke it. Okay, so smoking something hitting your lungs, not only is altering your brain, but it's affecting your lungs. And smoking day in and day out is going to cause some type of difference in your lung, and it can cause cancer. Unfortunately, that's what you have to realize. It's going to be some kind of toll, some type of sacrifice is made by your habit. So smoking, that smoke going in and out of your lungs day in and day out, it could be potentially cancerous to your lungs. And that's what we have to understand. Okay? And then another thing I was talking about is I just don't want to put myself at risk. I don't want to put myself at risk of getting cancer. I have things to do in this lifetime. I have things to do, and I want to be here for a long time. I want to be here to see my kids grow up. I want to be here to be a part of my grandchildren's life. You know, I want to be here. So I have to do what's necessary in my life and make the sacrifices necessary and do the things I have to do to take care of myself so I can be here in a long run. Okay, so because I don't know the long-term effects of weed, because I know smoking and putting something in your lungs that's not supposed to be there can potentially cause cancer, that's another reason. That's the best reason more than ever to quit. Okay, because you have things to do, you have a purpose. There's things that you want to do. You want to be here for your family. You want to have a long, healthy life. That's another reason. So that's a part of the reason why I quit. I'm sure there's so many other reasons. I really didn't expect this video to be this long, but I feel like it was also necessary. I'm going to follow up with another video about how I quit. Okay, so this is why I wanted to quit and the reasons why I quit, but now I'm going to follow up with a video of how I quit. Now, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, love you guys. I'll see you later.